When will I be good enough to be all I wanna be? When will I be good enough to live my life and be free? When will I dance till the morning lights up my day? When? Vibrations of light, vibrations of hope.
We are here in the studios of Stephen Endelman, and this is a man who is all about vibrations. He's all about music, he's all about healing, he's all about a journey. He has an amazing story to tell. You've had an unbelievable journey over the last couple of years. Would you be so good as to talk about that and what it's brought to your life, those dramatic experiences?
Well, actually, this past Saturday, I celebrated my 4th rebirthday. And people say, what's a rebirthday? Well, a rebirthday is generally given to you after you've had a bone marrow transplant. And I had a bone marrow transplant on May the 3rd, 2010. And why did I have a bone marrow transplant? Well, the previous year in June of 2009, I was wrongly diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I then, for the next 5 or 6 months, was put on an interferon called Copaxone and high dosages of various steroid types. By November of 2009, I was literally dying in front of everybody. I found a new neurologist at a different hospital here in Los Angeles, UCLA. I remember that doctor saying to me, Geyser, Dr. Barbara Geyser, I don't know what you've got, Stephen, but you don't have MS. And then 4 days later, after Thanksgiving, I was rushed to the hospital because I'd stopped breathing. And I remember getting in the ambulance, and then I fell asleep, and I woke up, fully woke up on February the 17th of 2010. So I went to sleep basically end of November 2009, woke up February the 17th, 2010, but I no longer had multiple sclerosis. But it also took me a long time to understand what I'd had. I'd been in ICU for 3.5 weeks, and I'd been intubated, and I'd woken up completely atrophied, only to find out that I'd had the rarest, most uncommon form of brain cancer at this time. It was the thing, well, it was called CNS Lymphoma, and it was the thing that you died of when you had AIDS. It was the last thing you got when you had AIDS. So they had given me high dosage methotrexate, which is a chemotherapy. They'd given me 3 doses while I was still asleep, and on the 3rd one I'd shown some cognitive response, and then they continued that, and then they decided that the best way forward and the most chance of survival was a bone marrow transplant. So I got my new bone marrow on the 3rd of May 2010, and I'm out in the big wide world.
You are?
Yes.
You're out in the big wide world with a mission?
Yes, I mean, people often ask me, they say, well, you know, you were basically dead. Everybody comes, you know, what's it like? What was it like? And I try not to answer those questions because I don't think that's relevant. I think what's relevant is how has this experience changed me? What thoughts do I have now? And how have they evolved in the last few years? And I think for me, it seems quite simple now. The 2 things we know for sure is that we are born and we die. That's it, simple. In between that, everything along the way are lessons that we are meant to solve and learn from. I've learnt a certain number of things from this experience. One is that you can't take any material possessions with you when you die. You can't. So what do you take with you? You take the connections that you make in this life with you.
Yes. What are those connections?
Those are connections, meeting you, David, meeting Julie on the beach. So I have this unfathomable, indistinguishable appetite for meeting and discovering people. I can't explain it. I mean, my doctors will tell you, and I've asked them because I could see that it's kind of getting to me. Sometimes it gets me into trouble. They'll say it's my frontal lobes.
Okay.
Because my frontal lobes were damaged.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't know I had any brain damage, but they said, look, Stephen, you got brain cancer. It was everywhere, right? It could not be cut out, so we had to give you chemo to kill that brain cancer. So between the cancer and the chemo, you're going to get brain damage. Luckily, your brain damage is in your frontal lobes. I think what it has basically done for me, it's just made me totally open, completely open to everything and anybody. I've worked really hard on the idea of being non-judgmental. So we're all born with judgment. We all have judgment fed into us from the time we come out of the womb. So I try so hard to meet people and just not be judgmental. Because at the end of the day, we are all the same. We are all the same species. Doesn't matter what denomination, religion you are, doesn't matter your sexual orientation, color, race, religion, nothing. We are all the same. The other thing about this that I really feel, and I don't think, you know, a lot of people go, oh, I'm spiritual, but I don't believe in this, or I'm that and I don't believe in this. I am so utterly convinced that now, in my mind, that we are all connected. All this species, the human species, we are all connected. And we are connected to God.
What is God to you?
For me, God isn't a guy with a big white beard. He's not a woman. It's not that. To me, it's kind of like the supercomputer that's up there somewhere by which we're all connected. And I have a feeling that this is going to sound out there, guys, and I don't know the science properly, but our third eye, our middle eye, right? Yeah. That is stimulated by the pituitary and the pineal gland here, there and there. So I got a feeling, if one day we could see it, these glands, when they're activated, they send a wave out there. We all do it. All of us do it. And they all go up there and they're all connected to some supercomputer. Hey. And that's why nothing is random. You know, it's bizarre. I'll sit on a plane. Happened to me 2 weeks ago. I'm going to New York. I sit on a plane. I'm talking to a young African-American woman and a white woman. The white woman is telling me that she lives there and she does this. And she's asking my experience. I'm telling her. The other woman next to me gets really quiet.
She does.
The white woman gets really
Why?
quiet. Why? Why, you ask, David?
Yeah.
Here's why. Stephen, I didn't want to say anything. But my sister died a year ago during her bone marrow transplant. So, of course, an immediate bond.
Yes.
Because I've met so many people now who have relatives, friends, family members who've died either just during or just after their bone marrow transplant. Because that's when you're susceptible to infection. And I was infected in a variety of ways, but I made it through.